no clarity. We don't know if they've got legal representation. The problem is, as you can see, the doors are locked, the doors are guarded and that. So if they don't have legal representation, we need to know why and that. And so far, the authorities have been silent on this.
And they need to have the public see justice but being done. They're being denied their right to have the public see justice being done.
Yes, as you can see, it's quite difficult to see justice being done unless you've got X-ray vision. Those doors are locked, we can't see in there, and we don't know what's going on inside.
Unconstitutional.
Completely unconstitutional. It's supposed to be a public court, and the way it's supposed to be public so that we can see justice being done. Can't see justice being done from here. Can't use our words for it. Just can't. They didn't get a phone call. Why would we believe you to say that they were given a choice of representation? This is where we are left with. We can't even trust your word for it anymore. Your word doesn't mean anything. We want to see. We want to go into the courts and see what's happening. We want to see justice being done. We want to see justice being played out, and that's our constitutional right. You, yourself should be banging down that door for us. You should be opening it and saying, get in there and see what's happening and make sure justice is being done.
You took an oath.
Now uphold your oath and do your job. That's all you need to do. And get the people back on your side. Because you've lost all support everywhere. You know that. You're demoralised by what you're doing to this country. You've no support. There was a time I thought there's a few good guards left. But these aren't. These are all compliant. These are compliant. These are all rotten. Rotten to the core. It's not just one or two bad apples. The whole orchard needs to be gone and revamped. You should be opening that door and leading the way. Lead us up there to the courts so we can see justice being done. But you won't. You won't. You'll do the opposite. You'll actually arrest us for justice. That's where we are at. These are dark times for this country. Dark. This is dark times.
What are you going to say to your grandchildren? What are you going to say to your grandchildren? Look what we helped to create. Look what we helped to build.
Yous helped create this lockdown. Yous helped create it. And if you're wearing that mask because you're afraid of a virus that has a 99.9.6 or something percent recovery rate, then you're not a man and you shouldn't be wearing that uniform. You're a mouse. Because that's what you are. If you're afraid of a virus that has a 99.9% recovery rate, you're not wearing that mask. And the mask doesn't even work. Doesn't work. Doesn't stop virus.
It makes you sick though.
It actually makes you're actually sucking in your own bacteria through that mask. That's what you're doing. You're giving yourself lung disease by sucking in your own carbon dioxide and your own germs that are building up in that mask. That mask is supposed to be changed every 20 minutes. I bet you haven't changed it since the last time you changed your boxers.
And then when you go back to the Garda station with your 5G on the top, it'll be the final nail in your own coffin. You get cancer in a few years and you'll wonder why. It weakens your immune system, that mask. And it's like putting barbed wire around your house to keep out mosquitoes. The mesh of the mask is about 100,000 times wider than a virus. Think about it.
But they're just doing their job.
That's the end.
That was the excuse the Nazis made.
Free Katie and Dara! Free Katie and Dara! Free Katie and Dara!
Hey, Dara, to Gemma there.
Hey, Gemma, how are you? Thank you, Gemma. Thank you. We had a night where procedure was not followed from the very beginning to the very end. It was a night of ego. A Gardaí ego took over, and they would not let us speak. The two Gardaí that were looking after us recently performed very well, but the Gardaí that arrested us, or failed to arrest us correctly, would be the better way of putting it. They performed terribly. We were not told. I was never read my rights at any point. I was arrested for not having an identification, for not producing an identification card, which is not a requirement in the Irish state. I was put in a cell where there was uneaten food, unfinished drinks, unfinished drinks, blood on the bedding.
There was vomit on my bed.
Oh God.
There was.
Thank you, Emma.
That's Archie, the vomit.
There was sewage gases coming up through the floor, and I felt very ill.
You listening?
So to be arrested on health regulations, related to health regulations, and be put in a cell with blood on the bedding, congealed, wet blood on the bedding, was absolutely ridiculous. Katie's cell had vomit
On the bed sheets, or bed blanket, on the blanket. And what I did inform the duty officer, and she moved me straight away. So I will say that the duty officers were decent.
They done their
But
best.
the arresting officer assaulted me 3 times between Dunstores and the front door of the Garda station. So,
Also, your cell was freezing and you got
oh
hypothermia.
yeah, the heating was broken in the second cell. The dirty one was nice and hot, but the second cell was really cold. I was frozen and, like, I would say nearly in the beginning stage of hypothermia. I was crying and shaking, and the duty officer was offering me blankets from her car, and she said she knew that the heating was broken, and yeah, so yeah.
So, do you have any comment on the close group?
You heard that, Martin? I think.
Well, we were following our duty as a citizen, and we were engaged in our normal, lawful business. We were passing out information regarding, factual information regarding the COVID virus.
And we were going into Dunnes stores to do our food shopping for the week, but before we started doing our shopping, we distributed a few leaflets to the public, who willingly took them. We didn't harass anybody. They came to us most of the time. And
several members of the public took multiple leaflets off us to hand out to their friends and family also. Then we were approached by a very zealous Garda, a female Garda, and she would not let us speak. She was talking over us. She was basically, at least, spitting, if not frothing at the mouth.
she was demanding social distancing and invading our space as well. Demanding 2 meters social distancing. And I asked her 6 times, was she on her oath? Are you on your oath, Garda? And no answer from either Garda. And then I asked them, are we under arrest or are we free to go? 3 times, and there was no answer from either Garda. So then we started to just walk away. I was going to go back to the car to get my wallet to go and do my shopping, and the female Garda assaulted me for the first time. She grabbed me and pulled me off the pavement towards an unmarked Garda car. And
Katie wasn't actually arrested till 10 o'clock that night, so she was abducted from outside the Dunnes stores and assaulted a number of occasions. So she wasn't actually charged or arrested until 10 o'clock that night. We know that because they read Katie her rights at 10 o'clock that night.
yeah.
I was never read my rights at any point.
And she didn't identify herself either until 10 o'clock. I didn't know who she was. And then the second time she came after me, she asked me, she asked me where did I live, and I said Tipperary, which is the truth. And she asked me 8 times altogether, and then she just grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to the Garda car, and I just complied. And on my way out of the Garda car into the station, I was the last to get out of the car, and she kicked me in the ankle and then stood on the back of both of my shoes, trying to provoke a reaction on the way to the front door of the station. So I looked at her over my shoulder to acknowledge the assault, but I didn't rise to the provocation. So. And that was it. And I just will say that I have a lot of respect for the duty officers there. They treated me so well, the 2 of them that I met. So, and they were on their oath the whole time. So, yeah, we met the good and the bad yesterday.